Hey folks, Quill18 here, and welcome to another episode of Let's Play the Kerbal Space Program. Again, I'm playing mostly blind, trying not to read too many spoilers, but at the same time, I'm being spoiled by the fact that I'm gonna try to copy a fair number of steps from the actual NASA space program. We're still in the Mercury era. In this episode, we're going to try to go for Orbit, which was first achieved by NASA, of course, sometime after the Russians, on Mercury 6. Mercury 6. So just like Mercury 3, which is the one we were first copying in the last episode, they don't have any sort of extra solid rocket boosters on the side, anything like that. It is a multi-stage thing, but it is all liquid fuel. However, Mercury 6 used quite a bigger engine, or quite a bigger rocket, I should say, than Mercury 3 did. I don't know if we can get comparative thrust here. Yeah, the payload capacity of the Mercury 3, which just went into suborbit, was 1,800 kilograms and had a thrust of 350 kilonewtons, whereas the Atlas LV-3B that Mercury 6 used had a capacity... Actually, the payload was low. Oh, because the payload capacity for the first one was for suborbital. This one is a payload to low Earth orbit. But it has a burn time of... How do we check the distance between the two? Burn time is roughly the same, actually, between the two. Interesting. But a lot more thrust, whereas the Mercury 3 rocket had 350 kilonewtons. This one had 1,300 kilonewtons. So, 4 times as much. So, we're gonna do that. Basically, we almost got into orbit last time, but we don't want to come close to almost. So we're gonna do a similar sort of thing. It would be nice if we just had bigger engines, but we don't have bigger engines. We do have these... We do have a couple of solid fuel boosters. Did I spend my science last time? I can't remember. We certainly got a lot of it on our suborbital flight here. No, I did not. I can't get heavy rocketry. Okay, I can't get anything on this tier, so we'll just get another tier over here. May as well. We could save it up, of course. The Rockomax adapter lets us put bigger bits on things, but we don't have bigger things to put under there. So I don't think it makes any sense to unlock that at this time. We don't need anything from aviation. Flight control, we can get better winglets. The inline reaction wheel lets us turn a little faster and get a little bit more control. We could throw more science on there. You know what? I think I'm just going to save up my money for now to try to get even better rocketry over there. So we're just going to try to into space at this point. Okay, fair enough. So we do need more thrust. Now, there's two ways you can do it. Is a longer burn by having more fuel tanks, but that adds weight. Or we could strap on some side engines, but again, I'm trying to avoid that. So, okay, these bad boys... Like, what do you stick them on the side? And then how do they bring in the fuel? Oh, I think I'm understanding it here. So, even has the gimbal. What's its thrust on this one? The max thrust sort of in the atmosphere, which is what we care about for the first stage, is 108, with a mass of 0.9. If we compare it to the Reliant, it's got more mass, but more thrust. But what we could do is, I guess we can tick them on the side here. So we could get an even more aggressive first stage, because we could put, like, say, 3 of these. Now, all of a sudden, we're getting 50% more thrust, right? Because each one of them is half as strong as the Reliant. But if we had 3, then we get 50% more thrust. For triple the weight. But I think the fuel tanks are... Well, no, the weight is all pretty samey. The other alternative is I just add another row of fuel, just for a longer burn, but I'm really iffy about doing that. We could just throw a couple of boosters on the side, just for a little extra oomph right at the start, right? Like, if we did something like the radial decouplers, and I was trying to avoid, you know, doing the boosters, because we shouldn't need them. But if we just start just a scooch faster, if we do that, and just throw some fleas on the side, obviously they're going to get jettisoned very, very, very quickly. It adds more to our cost, but we jettison them very quickly, which means ultimately we're not adding much more weight to our spacecraft, and the weight at launch should be offset by these. I don't feel like this is the right approach. I feel like this is a brute force approach. I suppose brute force is not always bad, but let's give it a try. So we are going to try to get into orbit using this just by having a little bit more juice than last time. I'm not sold on it, but we're going to try it. Oh, I didn't adjust my stages. I can adjust them on the launch pad, but they won't get saved. Stage 1, fire that. Actually, also fire the center. So all the engines in the middle here fire at once. Stage 4 will be to decouple the side things. Stage 3 will be decouple the base. All right, I think it's going to be okay. We're obviously going to want full thrust. SAS turn on. Okay, and somewhere above 15,000 kilometers, we will start doing a 45-degree turn to the east. We might actually wait until 20,000. I mean, I want more lateral motion, but I also want to get out of the thicker atmosphere. The sooner the better. I guess what we'd have to do is almost do 2 flights with the exact same ship. One where we do the 45-degree turn at 15K, and one where we do it at 20K. We could even try even lower, but I think lower would be too much. All right, well, what could possibly go wrong? Yeah, so we're burning through that very quickly as expected, but our initial speed got up much, much, much faster. In fact, I will throttle back to 2/3 now to avoid any air resistance. We're not really accelerating too much. We're going to wait till we're out of the light blue, and then we're going to go back to full burn here, where the air is a little bit thinner. I assume the air is always getting thinner as you go, but, you know, that's a nice little benchmark. Okay. Let's go back to full burn. We do still have little extra bits and bobs. We're not really getting any atmosphere effects, which is nice, I think. Oh, you know what? I can't do the orbit with this ship. My little module here doesn't have any extra, shoot. Alright, let's start the turn. Turn off the SAS and then do the turn. Yeah, no, we've got a lot of things wrong with this. This will not cut it. I forgot to put on the little Terrier engine on my command module, which is really what we need. Still, let's check to see where we are here. Oh, that's going to be good. Kill the engine. That is more than enough. As long as we're going to end up over 70K, that's going to be fine. How much fuel do we have left? We might have enough fuel here for us to go into orbit. I'm just concerned that we might not have enough to deorbit afterwards. We'll see. We'll see. Well, we're definitely getting into space. Of that, there is no doubt. $88, which is fine. Let's go and we're going to try to keep a bearing to the atmosphere, to the horizon here. Our prograde is going to eventually meet us down here. When it gets very close to here, that's when we'll go back to full burn, and we'll see what we might be able to get. We are officially in space. Might as well go in science. I'm pretty sure. Let's start with the crew report, because we can repeat that if it's done oofed. In space near Kerbal. Okay, so we've already done this. In space, I mean, unless it changes when we go orbital. I can't reset that one. And I don't know if we're going to be able to go into orbit. Okay, we're getting very close to our peak. I can just throw bigger boosters on, but I'm really trying to avoid it. Alright, let's go for burn now. We gotta save enough to deorbit. Let's cut off now and see where we are. We're nowhere close. So, we'll get some more distance. Damn. Damn. I have upper atmosphere stuff, right? But I've already done the space goo. Yeah, there's really not much going on here. Pooh! Alright. Let's time warp until we start coming back into the atmosphere. Oh, wait. Slow down. Let's actually go right into retrograde. We'll slow down right away, which is going to be okay. Whoa! Too much. Too much. Now, if we had the little Terrier engine on here, it would be great. Okay. I'm going to turn this way, just so it's behind me, so there's no risk of running into it. There we go. Turn retrograde-ish. Speed up as we come down. As soon as we enter the atmosphere, there it's slowing us down. Drop all the way down, just so that I can babysit this while we go through the burn phase. Make sure we're properly facing the right way. There we go, like that. Okay. Damn. I was really hoping this one would do it. But as soon as I launched, I realized we didn't have the Terrier. I was like, we'll try anyway. But the Terrier makes a massive difference. Now, we might just want to replace our mid-stage with the Terrier or something. We'll see how it goes. Okay, that's all good. Let me turn off the SAS. Come in for a landing, perfectly fine. We can accelerate a little bit, but we gotta make sure to turn it off before we get too low. Otherwise, the physics might get a little wacky and we might land too hard. And go back down for proper simulation. Make sure our surface speed is right, well before we hit 500 meters. Good. I mean, it's a small ship, so the physics should mostly be able to sustain it. But there we go. Much better this way. Okay. So, I apologize. It feels like, you know, that was a whole flight that was completely unnecessary. Completely unnecessary. We don't think we completed any missions. I don't know if we got any distances. No, we didn't, because it would show up here. So we just spent a lot of money on a flight that was no good. I could have reverted, but I'm eating the cost. I'm going to be good that way. Speaking of cost, I wonder if it might be a really, really good idea for us to upgrade things. You know what? I'm going to wait, because I need to make sure. I know the launch pad has a maximum weight, and I want to make sure we don't make any alterations to the ship that makes it so heavy that we can't orbit. Alright, recover that. Really got, like, nothing out of this. But it was a learning experience from my point of view, even if it's not represented in game mechanics. Right? We did get 7 science. Woo. Okay. Let's come back over here. So, we're going to take... Where's the separation level? Right over there? No. Oh, wait. Okay. So, this is our final stage, right? So this is our ascent level. This is our mid-stage or whatever. What we want to do is get rid of that. Put in, maybe to lighten our final payload, we'll use the T200 tank and then the Terrier engine. So all of a sudden we've lightened our ultimate payload quite a bit. We still have the setup for re-entry over here, exactly the way we want it, which is good. So then we can put our ascent stage back on over here. I think this does need more oomph, and not necessarily via rocket boosters, although these fleas are obviously not cutting it one way or another. We could make this much... I feel like there's a distinct possibility that this is all we need to do. I will feel very stupid if we waste another launch and not make it there. I'd really feel better if we had bigger, stronger base engines. I suppose I could, like, split the difference and do something like that. Quite a bit more weight, but again, we'll get 50% more thrust at launch. Also, I bet you we can just get rid of these fins, because these are all gimbaled. How heavy were those fins? Not terribly heavy. Now, assuming this works, I have no idea. I have no experience with these, what are they called? Thuds. I suppose I could put 4 of them as well, but I think that would be too much thrust. This is just 50% more thrust than last time. A bit more weight because of the extra fuel here. On the other hand, the top part is lighter. Is there a place you can get the final weight stats? You can. 12.8 tons. Hold on. We're going to call this the Mercurish 4. If I save this... And can we get, like, total thrust or anything stats? Missing ladder. We don't have a ladder. We don't have monopropellant. Monopropellant container, which is not used by or connecting to anything that requires oh, because, okay, our module. That's right. Our module itself has monopropellant as a container, right? Which we never use. We don't have any command and control stuff, so we don't have that. Okay, so I've saved this. So, this is 12.8 tons as a weight. If I compare it to the last one... 12.1. Now, it did have the solid rocket boosters. If I take those off, 11.4. Still, it means... I'm not going to save this. Don't save. It means our Mercurish is only slightly more heavy, but has 50% more thrust at start. Not to mention more fuel, right? Because this has... Again, sorry, I'm going to check here. This only had 2 fuel tanks for the ascent stage. Oh, this is going to be so much better. 50% more thrust and 50% more fuel for the ascent phase. I think so. Plus, these can turn. We're going to have to make sure to do our turn while we're still burning this, actually. Okay, well, let's try. We could probably turn sooner. You know what? By turning sooner, if we make sure we're at 45 degrees at 15,000 meters, it means that we will need a lot less delta V from our top part to convert from our suborbital trajectory to an orbital one, because we'll already be going sort of sideways a lot more. And that will save a lot more fuel here for retrograde. Not that we need tons for retrograde, but, you know. All right, I'm liking it. SAS turn on. Full throttle for launch. I didn't check that these are going in the proper order, but they are. Go. Accelerate as much as we can until we get to... I don't know when we start getting aerodynamic effects. I really got to keep an eye on that because I want to throttle down right around that point. A little bit of wobble, but we've got lots of gimbal. I think I'm going to go, once we hit... do something like that. Actually, no. Let's go back up to full. Until I actually start to see the bits. There we go. And then throttle down. Just, there we go. Just to the point where we don't really see them. So it looks like they appear around 300 meters a second. And now we're thinning out, so we can start to accelerate again. In fact, we can go to full. Excellent. A little bit of drag. Pull back. Almost out of fuel. Full burn, 45 degrees. Separate. Fire. Check the map. No. Nowhere close to as good as last time. Although, this is second stage here. This ascent stage is a lot lighter. So when I get to... because we are going to bleed off a little bit. Try to get a little bit more parallel. When we get to maybe around 75, I'll cut engines. Because we're still currently in atmosphere. There we go. So there's still going to be a little atmospheric drag. We don't have enough. Son of a bitch. I mean, more boosters might be the thing, but they didn't have to do it for Mercury, goddammit. I was trying to avoid it here. But they did have, in the Mercury 6 rocket, they did have, like, the much bigger base rocket. The same thing, like, we need, like, the Rocco Max type of engines, I think, to properly simulate that. So I guess we will have to use some SRBs. It's a bit of a shame. But what can we do? Oh, the other thing is, actually, fuck, that's the other thing I'm forgetting. Since we've already done our science here, actually, can I science, is this upper atmosphere? We already got some, but let's get a little bit more upper atmosphere. That's nothing. Yeah, that's nothing. Okay. We could drop the science module behind. The science module and the legs. I don't know how heavy they are, but we can save quite a bit of weight by doing that. There you go. Officially in orbit. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Damn it. I mean, certainly just throwing on some SRBs is going to be all we need. But I was really hoping we'd be able to do it with just the fuel. And I think we will be able to do it with just liquid fuel, but we need other engines. All right. Worth the experiment, you know. We tried and we failed. The lesson is never try. Oh, yeah, I can't steer while we're doing that. So I think that'll ultimately be more or less the angle of re-entry. Let's get that going. Oops. Be somewhere around 30K or so. That will start to get temperature heating up. Poo! Poo, poo, poo. That is 2 wasted flights. Although, we'll have to say this. The Mercury system, I believe, did do 3 suborbital flights before they got their first one. Okay, we're going slow. We're pointing correctly. Still got the ASS or SAS to keep us fully on our retrograde. As soon as the heat goes away, we can deploy the chute. Turn off the SAS. Time warp to 4. I think I'll wait until we get to just over 500 actual meters this time before slowing it down. All right. Well, we didn't die. All right, I'm just going to throw like 3 big boosters on, do exactly the same thing, and replace the current engine setup with just the 1 gimbaled engine underneath it. I mean, I could be going around getting more science, which would certainly unlock some bigger stuff. I was really hoping I could get to orbit without unlocking more science. And maybe that's a pipe dream. But, you know, going and, like, visiting biomes and stuff sounds pretty boring. I suppose I could, like, do really suborbital flights, maybe even just high atmosphere flights, and just try to land in a different biome. All right, let's try to squeeze in more and more flight over here. Let's just throw in some SRBs. We are spending money, but, you know, get rid of that. Throw in 1 swivel engine down there. Then three of them. Zoom in. The hammers. I mean, we could go crazy and go with the thumpers. They're not even that expensive. We don't want that. We want this set higher up like that. Good for stability and also for things not to burn each other up. Do that. We are going to need some fins here, because the gimbling will not be enough. We will start with this engine enabled, although certainly not at full throttle. Just enough for the gimbling to help with the stability. The wings will be there. I think that's going to be fine. Interesting. Why aren't they like grouped up? I mean, it doesn't matter. They're still on the same thing, but that's okay. And this engine will get moved down to here. So stage 5 will launch all our ascent phase engines. Then we'll blow off the SRBs. Then at some point, get rid of the ascent stage completely. I'll actually start the Terrier engine right away, just so that we'll have its gimbling properties to keep it stable immediately. Okay. Oh, the mass is way too much. You know what? That's okay. I'm going to save this. These things are really heavy. I'm going to save this. We're going to exit here. We're going to upgrade the launch pad, because this is weighing 29 tons, and our launch pad can only handle 18. So, upgrade that. Now we can go all the way up to 140 tons. Okay. Anything else we want to upgrade? And the tracking station. Can we? Oh yeah, tracking station we can watch things, but we can't really do anything right now, because you can't have multiple things in orbit at the same time, which will be important when we get to the Gemini stage. Upgrading this is pretty pricey. I think we can get some more information on our SAS. You know what? No, we'll wait for now. You know what? That's the space plane hangar. What is this thing? Admin building? I don't know what upgrading that does. Astronaut complex. There we go. Oh, okay. There, we get the actual information if we mouse over it. Patch conics visible on map. No idea what that represents. Okay, let's pick that up so we can EVA in space. Okay. All right. This is going to be the final flight of the video. If this can't reach orbit, then there's something really freaking wrong with my entire designs. This should be 100 times too much overkill. In fact, we will almost certainly run into ridiculous amounts of air resistance. I should have probably used the medium-sized engines, but at this point, I don't want to not reach orbit again. SAS turn on. We're going to throttle back on our liquid fuel engines. Keep it at 1/3. We don't really need it for lift. We mostly just need it to be awake for some gimbling in case it, to help us keep going straight. Go. Ridiculous amounts of lift power. We don't actually get acceleration stats. Although I guess that's what the force is here, right? G-force, yeah. There we go, hitting 300. We're still in relatively thick atmosphere. We're going to get through the thick atmosphere a lot faster. We are going to start to get some heat real soon. Get out. Oh, some RCS is firing to keep his level. That's interesting. Okay, there you go. So that means the atmosphere effects burn off. Oh, we're actually rotating a bit. How did that happen? There we go. Try to keep directly east. Hit that 45-degree mark just in time for 20K. Yeah, we are in, like, what's with all the rotation? I mean, it's fine. We're mostly heading due east, which is okay. We're not getting any air resistance right now, so we can be at full burn and get lots of efficiency. We're going to let this apoapsis hit about 75K. Let's get our little ball here. Still the 45-degree, which is fine. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Still got fuel? In this main one? We do, actually. So we'll be able to use the secondary phase and cut. This is brilliant. Okay, we got a lot of juice left in here. I didn't just want to throw more horsepower at it. I really felt like just the liquid fuel could do it. But again, I think they will once we get the, what is it called? Like the Rocco Max ones, which are wider. So you get more fuel, bigger engines. And once we get the ability to maybe even cycle propellant from one to the other. I don't know, but then again, we'd need to be able to attach stuff. All right, apoapsis looking good. Looking very good. And yeah, we'll be able to use this stage here, all the burn on this stage, simply to put us into orbit. Which is great. For the sake of sanity, let's rotate again. And then go ahead and get us a bit slow rotation, but at least there's no atmospheric effects over here. So just using the reaction wheels completely is fine. Oops. We'll try to burn due east. Not that it's necessarily relevant anymore. Okay. Actually, what I should really be making sure I do is burn directly into the prograde. When we are almost there. Yeah, it doesn't tell us when we're going to get there. I guess we need the extended modules for that. All right, it's full burn. So this keeps delaying that, but that's okay. How do I get, like, the orientation I want? Is this it? More or less? So we're putting this up a little bit, but really not much at all. And that's it for that stage. Oops, SAS stay on. Detach and burn with the Terrier. We're a lot lighter. We can accelerate a lot better now. We're just at... This is literally the best time to be thrusting. That sounds suggestive. Alright, we're going for the full orbit. It would be really nice if you could see our remaining fuel in the screen. Like, really, really, really nice. Come on, baby. You can do it. As long as we got a little bit of fuel left for the deep orbit burn, we're going to be fine. And... a little bit more. A little bit more. And cut. 77, 73. We'll get a little bit closer to apoapsis. We can give one extra little burn and go into a perfectly circular orbit. We still got half our fuel left, and we don't need anywhere close to that. We only need like a couple of seconds retrograde burn to slow us down enough to drop our orbit. I mean, it's going to be a long time around, but eventually we'll still be able to come down at that point. almost circular orbit. The closer we get over here when we do the burn, which makes sense. If you're right here when you do the burn, it doesn't change this position. It just sort of extends the hula hoop on the other side. And we don't get any actual stats. I can't plant maneuvers because I don't have that upgrade in the tracking station yet. This is when they were still using like physical, like robotic, mechanical displays to track the position of these in space. It was so wanky. All right, we are very nearly there. Oops, let me make sure I'm actually pointing towards prograde, which I have to do manually. And there we go. Only 1 kilometer off from side to side as we go around this planet. I'm sure we didn't need this much horsepower to get through, but we have done it. And that's the fact that we still have our science module over here. Now, if we're real good, we can try to land it in a different biome, but we're not really going to have that level of precision. I will try. For now, let's just enjoy the fact that we are in space. We are in orbit. Wonderful. Moon, we are coming for you. I wonder if we can orbit the sun. I bet you can. I wonder if temperature does a thing. The dark side of Kerbal. It's shiny over here with the water. A bit too much specular. Lovely. It is gorgeous the way they've got their sun map or their the sky map here. Skybox. Now, if the thing that could really F us up right now, if I accidentally hit the space bar right now, we'd be stuck in orbit forever because I'd be detaching my engines and we'd never be able to do anything else. So let's try real hard not to do that. Let's just go to maximum time warp. We can only go max times 50 because we're a little lower, but that's okay. We wanted very low Earth orbit. I mean, complete one loop. I guess we are technically in orbit right now. Situation orbiting. So can we do different science at this point? Have we actually completed these quests? Yeah, okay, we didn't have to complete an orbit. We just had to get into actual orbit to complete this. More science, lots of fame, good amount of money. Oh. Right, we did launch with the swivel engine right away because we didn't need the thrust of the Reliant one. So we actually completed that quest as well, a little mini quest. Very handy. Let's go and see, oops, if we can get different science. The fact that we're in orbit as opposed to suborbital. No, it still just counts as space. Crew report? Nothing. There's not going to be anything from the mystery goo either. Actually, I should have started with the crew report, knowing that it'll tell me if it's the orbit or not. Because then I could have saved this, just in case I happen to land in a different biome. God. And then here's the $64 billion question. Can I EVA? I can. I'm not going to release. I think I might have a jetpack, but there's no way I'm effing around with that at this point. EVA report. You're reminded of the myriad sailors who have been adrift in the ocean below. And here you are, the first one adrift in space. I don't know how to use the jetpack. I should do a practice in a different one. I think I've got one, but I really don't want to risk it. If I had 2 Kerbals here, right? So there still could be one that pilots it back. It'd be fine, but I want to be able to recover what I can from this. All right, let's start thinking about where we're going to land. If I did a deorbit burn now, would I land on this continent? Depends on how much juice I have for the deorbit. Or there. Let's do a full loop over here. Warp as much as we can. I'll start a deorbit shortly before the apoapsis on the other side and see if we might be able to dunk right in the middle of this stuff. Because we might be able to land in another biome, at which point we could do a crew report from there. We can't transmit, so I can't do another crew report, but I could do an EVA there and get a scooch more science. Okay. So let's turn ourselves so we're at retrograde. I think that's prograde. SAS turn on. I think that's retrograde. It's nice when you got the whole SAS support on the side because then you can find out. But I'm pretty sure that is correct. I think we're flying in that direction. Yes, we are. So this will slow us down. So my goal Actually, there's a lot of land here. Yeah, let's go to full burn. See, it really doesn't take much to deorbit. And we'll do that. We'll actually land a little shy of that. Unfortunately, in the dark side, because of air resistance and how that's going to work. Anyway, let's burn a little more. Okay. There, smack dab in the middle of the continent. Seems fine to me. So now that we know we're landing, I see no reason why we couldn't go ahead and detach this stage. I'm going to rotate around again. So we're going to drop this behind us. Good. And then once more, we're going to want something somewhat like this. Will ultimately be the correct angle for our re-entry. Okay, speed it up, max speed. We're now in the atmosphere. Speed it up again to max speed that we can do here. We're coming in a little faster, so we will start to hit air resistance a little sooner. But still pretty thin atmosphere right now. It'd be really nice if we landed in biome. Again, all we'll get is an EVA. Oh, and I still can't get back in the ship because I haven't researched like proper ladders. So no, we wouldn't want an EVA. So we could do one goo experiment in a new biome, and that is it. Let me untime warp here. Reorientate ourselves. It's going to be more like that. Because that retrograde should change as we continue. There we go. Oh, stop. Tilt ourselves so that we are completely in retrograde. Use the heat shield as much as possible. And we're going to wait until this excess speed burns off. We no longer have the temperature concerns. Yeah, see, this is glowing white hot. Well, not white hot, orange hot, but this one is not. And I don't know what color these temperatures represent. The landing pods get a little bit of heat. Orient a little bit better for retrograde here. Speed's burning off well. Okay, yeah, we were really getting off there, but I didn't want to fuck too much lest I accidentally rotate the wrong way and destroy ourselves. These are still glowing. Even without the temperature gauges, they are glowing hot. Or, oh, they take damage! Wow! Which is bad, because we actually have to land on them. Oh, for fuck's sake. Can I still deploy them? Yes. Will they be able to take the landing? God, I hope so. Put out the drogue chute. Turn off the SAS. You're no longer needed. I mean, ideally, I think with the aerodynamics of the ship, we may not need the SAS on reentry. But I think that might be more if we just had the command module by itself with nothing else interfering. With this, I'm not sure the weight is distributed properly. I am very concerned. Actually, is there any reason I couldn't just deploy the landing gear completely now? I don't think so. Let's go and put it down. We're going slow enough that there's no atmospheric effects whatsoever. All right, let's cross our fingers, you guys. It should be a very, very gentle landing. I don't know. This might count as Highlands, which is definitely a new biome. Again, all we'll be able to get out of it is the goo. Although, wait, I say that. That's not entirely true, because I can reset my crew report. I can't reset the material module because I don't have a scientist. Can't reset the other goo thing, and I don't want an EVA because I actually have a good EVA. Although I can store the old EVA information, so I can still get out and do one while holding on to this. But that will just be what? Flying over Kerbal? This is a little uneven. Don't tip over. Although if it tipped over, I could get back in the ship. Okay. Review stored data. Right. No, that one's fine. If I do a crew report now, cancel. Review report. That one wasn't worth anything. So crew report, overwrite the crew report. There we go. Landed in the Highlands. The meter still shows way too high for us to be on the ground. Velocity to 0, so there you have it, maybe. It's true, we are 1.1 kilometers over the surface of the Earth right now. Interesting. So we'll keep that. And yes, I can EVA, hold on to the outside, because I can't climb back in. I don't know how we recover something from the other side of Kerbal. 5.6 science. You're afraid your helmet will hit the peak of one of the mountains as you fly by. Who thought EVA was a good idea here anyway? Keep that data. Reboard. Recover everything. All right, well, we completed our orbiting mission. Finally. God. Man, this video came out long, but I did not want to end it without doing an orbit. And we got some extra science. Some. We could still get more by doing some Kerbal biomes, but honestly, you don't get that much science from the Kerbal biomes anyway. So if we get lucky and we land in one of them, good. But otherwise, I don't know what our next mission is going to be. It'll be more missions rather than science recovery. Well, we could unlock some new science instruments. That might be the thing to do. So now we have enough science. That is tough, actually. We have enough science. What does upgrading the science center do? Science research limit 100. 50. Kerbal EVAs can collect surface samples. Oh! Ooh, this is very expensive, though. We actually can't afford it. Never mind. So let's not do that. Kerbal science limit 100. Oh, because I was going to say, I have more than 100 right now, but I bet you we can't research anything that costs more than 100. I won't be able to get any of these. Still, there's a lot of stuff to pick up. So the question is, are we better off getting the basic science kit so we can do Steputnik? That is, allows us to put in a satellite. Oh, the batteries only last for 10 minutes. I guess it runs itself? I don't know. Oh, the built-in batteries, but then you can add more batteries over here. So this uses 1.7 charge per minute. Okay, so it uses about 2 charge per minute, has 10 charge, so it doesn't go for 10 minutes, it goes for just a little over 5. This one here would add about 50 minutes to it. The Too Hot thermometer lets us take weather readings, which I know can give us some extra science. I don't know if it's worth that direction. And comms is a different transmitter. Can we put a weather satellite in space and then use the transmitter? Later on, we must get solar panels. Photovoltaic panels. Yes. So once we get basic science and electrics, we could put a satellite in space that runs perpetually. And presumably, I know there's a thing with the thermometer that you can get weather readings from the land below. If you can do that in orbit, we could put a weather satellite in orbit and just keep checking it from time to time to see what biome it's over or something. Miniaturization. Very tiny little adapters. I mean, I think to do is maybe heavy rocketry. We don't have the mainsail yet, do we? There's the mainsail. Big effort. But we can't get that until we upgrade our science thing. So we might just have to do some missions to get more money. I think we might try the space plane next time. You know what? Why don't I do that? The struts here might be useful for doing better designs. The fuselage is just empty space, right? For our planes mostly. The Rokomax adapters, which give us more space. Yeah, I don't know what the next thing to do is. I might not spend the science right now until we get some more feedback. I may have to wait until these videos go online. We'll see how it goes. Thank you very much for watching this extra long episode. We finally got into orbit, which is good. We've got some science. I just don't know what to do with it. See you next time, folks. Bye-bye.